Hello and welcome to Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC, a weekly podcast and YouTube channel discussing everything Wrexham from the point of view of long-term fans and brand new fans like my wife. So sit back, put your feet up, relax and let's get stuck in. Hello and welcome to episode 29 of Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC. You okay?
I'm good, yeah. It's like we've never spoken to each other this morning.
I know, it's weird, isn't it? Before we get started, there's something I wanted to bring up. So this week...
Related to the podcast,
yeah, related to the podcast. It's not just like something that's been, I've had a beef with all week in the house and I just want to bring it up now on the podcast. No, what I wanted to bring up is I've noticed recently, especially this last week, but when I think about it over the last few weeks, really, on social media, can you see how the sort of tide is starting to turn with regards to people's perception and opinions of Wrexham Football Club?
Everyone hates us.
They do.
Really negative stuff on, I mean, you get the odd fan from different clubs, wanting the best for us, but then they're usually the ones that they know they're not going to get promoted this season. But yeah, Notts County fans, we live rent free in their minds constantly.
Yeah, but I don't even think it's them. I think what I've noticed recently, it's everyone. Nobody seems to like us anymore.
Jealousy is a horrible, horrible thing.
There's a lot of hate out there at the moment for us. And I think it sort of came to a head a little bit when Ryan Reynolds came to the Sheffield United game.
Yeah.
And obviously it was quite well publicised and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And he was on the TV a lot. And the amount of hate thrown at us as a club because he was there, I've just noticed it a lot recently, a lot more than it has been. Yeah,
I think people are a bit like, oh my God, Wrexham being televised yet again. I don't think it's necessarily because of who owns us. I think it's a big deal that a National League team, the only National League team still in the FA Cup, playing a team that is currently second in the Championship League.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not because of who we are, who owns us. It's purely because it's a big deal, as is the game on Tuesday.
Yeah, but see, you won't have seen this before, because obviously you're, for anybody, this is your first podcast you're listening to. Sian is not only new to Wrexham, but you're new to football, really, aren't you? It's only been sort of like 12 months that you've sort of really started to get into it.
Yeah, I mean, I have watched games.
Yes,
before,
of course.
Yeah.
But you're new to the whole sort of scene, let's call it.
The scene.
But for people like me, we've seen this before.
Okay.
On many occasions.
With who?
So let's think back to who we've seen it with before. So recent times, let's go at Salford. Very much when that documentary came out and all
with the
Class of 92.
Yeah.
So when all them got involved in the club and they got promotion after promotion after promotion, everyone was like, "Oh, this is an amazing story. We really love this." Everyone was really invested. Mm-hmm. They got to the National League and they were right up there at the top. The hate started. Oh, look, they're just buying their way through the league and all that sort of stuff surfaced for Salford. It's died down a little bit now because they've been in League Two for a couple of years and they've sort of hit a brick wall to a sense. You would have thought they'd have pushed on and got to League One, etc., etc. So that sort of calmed down with Salford a little bit now.
Yeah.
Another one is Man City.
Okay.
So Man City, as we sort of discussed during the Bryn Law interview, they tumbled down the leagues and they were well below where people thought they should be.
Yeah.
They were playing Wrexham in a league game, so that they'd fallen down. When they started getting back up through the league, they got big investment from Sheikh Mansour came in and, put a lot of money into the club. Man City were very much everybody's second team, as it were. Not officially second team, but everyone enjoyed watching City because they were they were fun to watch, and they were sort of like the plucky underdog who'd come back like a phoenix sort of from the flames. They'd come back through and everybody, oh yeah, really liked City.
Mm-hmm.
Until they got to the top. And then all of a sudden, everybody hates them. And this is what happens in football. Unfortunately, when our story started, everyone was like, fair play to them. They nearly went out of business a couple of years ago. They deserve a bit of luck. And they've got that, you know, luck. Ryan and Rob have come in. They've put some money in. Fair play to them. Go on, lads. Off you go. And then all of a sudden, we're starting to see that turn now.
It's just jealousy though,
where
isn't it?
It is, but it happens in football. It's happened before. It will happen again. It'll probably, a lot of the hate that's directed towards us tends to be from National League clubs, fans. I've
not seen anything from like, you know, Premier Championship.
No, exactly. Until we get to League Two. And then the hate will come from different angles and different places.
Do you think though? Do you think not? They'll be like, oh, you know, they've made it to League.
It's not what happens in football, unfortunately. It's like I say,
you can be anything in this world.
I've seen it before.
Yeah.
We will see it again, unfortunately.
It's so sad though.
Oh, bless.
It is sad.
It is, but that's just it.
Yeah.
It's what we're here for. You know, nobody likes us, but we don't care. It is what it is. That's a Millwall song, that is. I don't know it. I'm not going to sing it because I can't remember it. But, you know, nobody likes us, but we don't care.
It's just jealousy.
Just move on.
It's pathetic, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Grow up.
We'll move on to Altrincham.
Yes.
So we had a first start for Owen O'Connell.
Egon.
Yeah. So we saw, just to nip back, you know, like video. Sorry, I'm going backwards now, but you know, like videos like Ryan and Rob post, you know, where Ryan was trying to pronounce Owen's name.
Yeah.
For us, all Wrexham fans, it's funny, you know, and it's like, oh, you know, fair play, they're getting involved in the club. What do you think the perception of things like that are to other fans of other clubs?
They probably think they're idiots.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, yeah, look at them trying to.
To us, it's. I think. Do you know another thing? I think it's a lot to do with clubs don't necessarily really like their owners very much. There's a lot of hatred sometimes towards owners, and I think the fact that we've got owners that we actually like
and who are
actually doing stuff not just for the club, for the community, maybe actually spills out into I hate you. Yeah, maybe.
Again, jealousy.
Yeah, I know.
They should all be playing in green.
Yes, maybe so. So anyway, Altrincham, it was the first start for O'Connell.
Yes.
Cleworth came into the team.
Yes.
But all that said and done, it was quite a poor first half, wasn't it?
It was a bit dull, yeah.
So Altrincham hit the bar. And they had a chance to go ahead. They were quite unlucky not to go ahead. What was wrong? What was going wrong in the first half, do you think?
I think possibly the lads have not played with Owen before. So, you know, and he was, excuse what I'm about to say, but he was finding his legs.
Finding his feet.
Oh, is that the same?
Do
you know what? Every week we do a podcast, I give a lad who I work with, Rob, I give him a laugh because I say something stupid. Anyway, all right, finding his feet.
He's finding his legs, yeah.
Finding his legs. I like that one better, actually. He was finding his legs.
Do you?
And I think all the lads were trying to, you know, kind of gel and stuff like that. But I think in the second half, it was like he's been there for the whole season.
I mean, do you think there was a little bit of a cup hangover with the whole thing? You know,
there's always going to be.
Yeah,
people, you know. I think it was the same with Coventry. People expected. I mean, what was the game after we played Coventry?
I don't know, but it was Bromley, was it?
Something like that. Yeah,
and that was a poor game.
Exactly,
as well,
and I think it could be because they're tired. It could be because they're like, you know, they're just so overwhelmed by everything. It just takes them a little bit of time. I don't know really, but it's a bit of a coincidence. When we played Coventry, we had a big game against Bromley.
Yeah.
And again,
it could well be the amount of running that we did, because I know after the Coventry game, it was sort of well publicised that everybody who started the game put in their highest stats. So distance covered, etc. During the Coventry game. So that would add. I haven't heard anything after the Sheffield United game. I'm going to guess it was quite
Same.
similar because...
This is the question I need to ask you.
Okay.
Right. Obviously, we've got the size of our pitch.
Yes.
Right. But when you're looking at pitches like in Coventry, Sheffield and Man City and all that kind of stuff, to me, they look much bigger. Is that just because of the way they're like set out, or are they actually bigger
no,
in certain stadiums?
Yeah, they can be. So, for example, there will be a threshold for a pitch.
Yeah.
It won't be, like in American football. So I watch a lot of American football.
Yeah.
So in the NFL,
I don't.
You don't know, but they will have pitch markings. So they will have 10 yards, 20 yards, 30 yards, 40 yards, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So in the NFL, every pitch is the same size because it's set out in a way that is dictated within the rules. It has to be this size. Football isn't like that. So they'll have parameters. So it has to be a minimum of this and a maximum of that. Mm-hmm. So I can't give you them figures, but they're basically they're parameters.
Should have pre-warned you that I was going to ask that question.
Maybe, yeah, and I could have looked it up. But they're parameters for a pitch. So some pitches, well, it's not huge parameters, don't get me wrong. It's not like, between 50 yards wide and 150 yards wide, because that's ridiculous. But it's quite a small parameter, but you will notice some pitches maybe a little bit wider, it's...
That's the reason why I asked the question, is because of those, obviously those statistics from the Coventry game. Because you don't, even though they do quite, they run around and stuff during the, the race course, they don't seem to have those same statistics. So that's why I asked the question whether the pitch was bigger or...
No, I don't. I think you probably... It depends on opposition, I would say, the distance you run. Because someone like a championship team are going to stretch you a lot more because they're going to be more expansive in their play. Mm-hmm. They're going to, they're going to play it from one side to the other, and they're going to pull players towards them, move the ball quicker. So then you're having to double back and run back to the player they passed it to. And that the whole play is going to be a little bit more slick and quick. Slick and quick,
I like it.
But, so that would tend to be why that happens, the extra running yards. One thing you have to bear in mind as well is we sit in the third row at the racecourse. We're close to the pitch. Yeah. So our eye level is quite low.
Yeah.
So that, and then when we go to other places and we're sitting further up, it gives you a different perspective on a pitch, because so when we went to the Etihad, for example, we were sitting quite high, so we were looking down on the pitch, so it very much looked different. Do you know what I mean? And places that you go to. And it also depends on where you're sitting in the stadium. It will also depend on how big the stadium is, because that'll give you it'll skew your sort of, because, at Coventry, it was a big stadium. So it was quite expansive around. I've said expansive twice now in two different ways. It's right the way around us, whereas the racecourse isn't really like that. So it's going to give you a different sort of perspective on everything, I think.
Thanks for clearing that.
Hey, anytime.
Thanks for mansplaining that to me.
Mansplaining, yeah. So anyway, we second half started. It was a lot better.
A lot better.
A lot better. We looked a better team.
Don't you ever wonder, like, you'd love to be a fly on the wall in the dressing room?
I think, well, we sort of have, haven't we, in the documentary? We've been a sort of fly on the wall. We know what Phil's like when it's not going our way.
I suppose,
I wouldn't say he would have been. Maybe he was a little bit angry at half time. I'm not sure. I don't think we were terrible. I just think it wasn't great. Yeah. So Ollie scored.
He did.
Enjoyed that goal?
Yes, it was very, very enjoyable.
It was a very good goal.
It was a good goal to be fair, because again, they're all around the because it was from a corner, wasn't it? Young did the corner. Was it a corner or was it a throw-in?
I can't remember. I think it was a throw-in,
There was definitely one from, or maybe it was the O'Connell goal that was a corner. And
maybe I think to be honest, when with Tozer's throws, they're like a corner, aren't they? So it's quite hard to remember exactly where it came from.
So obviously they were all the throw in the corner, whatever it was. Yeah. They were all ganged around the around the goal. So it was quite difficult to sit. It was like who scored that goal then?
Yeah.
but obviously you said, oh, it was Palmer because he was the first one to kind of go out and
Yeah.
cheer to the crowd.
I think he's quite. That's not the reason that I said he scored. I just think he's quite noticeable. When Palmer gets the ball, I know it's Palmer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because I think he's so big, and his big bearded face. I think I can tell it's him.
Big bearded face.
For me, it was a great goal.
Yeah.
Really good first touch.
Effortless.
Yeah, it seemed
it. Was effortless.
I think how do you think Ollie's been over the past few weeks?
I think he's been a bit, not off, because that's the wrong thing to say. He's been, I don't know, maybe a bit preoccupied with something. I don't know, but he hasn't been the Ollie that, is scoring goals week in, week out. I think, when was the last time after yesterday, or before yesterday, sorry, when was the last time that he scored a goal?
Gateshead, he scored there as well.
Which was how long? Before Christmas?
No, 2 weeks. It was literally.
Christ,
it was literally the last league game he scored.
Okay.
But I think what the point you're trying to make, not to jump in, but just to help you out a little bit. I think what you're saying is before Gateshead, maybe
it was consistent.
It's been a while. It's been a while, a little bit of a while since he's got.
But that could be, pet owners obviously understand this, but he lost his dog.
Did he?
Yes.
Oh.
And there was a game, I can't remember, it might have been the Gateshead game. It was a home game anyway, and he obviously don't think he played particularly well, but I think he admitted that. But I think,
do you know what? That's not what I thought you were going to say.
What would you think I was going to say?
I don't know. I don't know what you were going to say, but I didn't expect you to say that. Yeah.
And he basically had his dog from like a pup.
Oh, bless.
And I think, obviously, how much you love Poppy, and how much that, the thought of losing her can affect you. So
maybe.
I think for that particular game, I think we forgive him for not playing as well as he usually does.
I think it's been a little bit of a while. He always puts effort in.
Oh yeah,
I think it's just there's certain things that aren't coming off for him at the moment for whatever reason. But he has little spells where he doesn't score, and he scored 2 in 2 in the league now.
Yeah.
So I think maybe he's getting back on where he should be. He's had a lot going on off the pitch as well, because he had his WXM clothing launch. He's been on quite a few different little podcasts and videos. Though. Not ours, no. But
sort it out, Ollie.
He's been on quite a few different things.
Yeah.
How do you feel about players having distractions like that off the pitch? Because they've got to have a life, haven't they?
Of course, yeah.
But is it an odd
it's like
balance?
A work-life balance,
yeah.
Isn't it? Whatever you call it.
But it's work-work balance, isn't it, for him? Because it's
it's
a work-life balance, isn't it? So how do you feel about a player ultimately having a second job?
I think, I don't really know. I think, we can't, like you said, they've got to have a life. They've got to do things that they enjoy. They've got to think about life after the football.
It's a very good point. Because,
so he's got to try and he's got a young family.
Yeah.
And he is. I mean, how old is Ollie Palmer?
32.
So he's getting to the end of his career.
Towards the end of his career. Let's put it politely. He's got more years behind him than he has ahead of him.
So he's got to start thinking, right, okay, and I'm assuming this is why he started WXM clothing, because and I think it's a good thing that he's got this business mind and all this kind of thing. But yeah, I think
he still needs to do what he needs to do on the pitch.
Yeah, first and foremost, he needs to be Ollie Palmer. Striker, goal scorer.
Yeah, no, it's like you're in my mind, because it's a question. I think if we ever do speak to him or sort of interview him, which we have spoken to him before, and it has been something we've potentially discussed with him. But I think it would be a question is, once you get past 30, do you start looking to life beyond football and what you're going to do and all that sort of stuff? But
I think with Ryan Reynolds, with all his businesses that he's got going on, he is looking.
Might be an influence as well, though, mightn't it? An entrepreneurial influence as well. Like that. Anyway, we've
digressed.
So Mendy came back.
He did.
Good.
It was good to see him back in the pitch.
It's good to see him back.
Yeah.
I think I've asked you this question before. McFadzean and Mendy are both fit. Who starts?
McFadzean
McFadzean for you?
I think in all honesty, I think McFadzean, as much as I like Mendy, but again, McFadzean's been there from the beginning of my journey, and I think he has shown his worth to be, on the starting team. And I think you've said I really don't know where I was going with that.
No,
I was just about to ask you a question. I can't remember.
It's the opposite for me. I think it's Mendy for me. Well, I think he's got a bit more pace. No. I think Callum's very much a defender. I think Mendy offers a bit more going forward. And where I would like to see the team at the moment, I'd like to see we're quite strong in games, and I would like to see us sort of putting pressure on players. So I'd like to see us on the front foot more. And I think when we're on the front foot more and we're attacking, I think Mendy is a better option on that left than maybe McFadzean is. But we've got two, and we can interchange, and that's the important thing for us, that we've got two in that position that we can actually sort of focus on. The right hand side, not so much, because obviously we lost Reece on Tuesday night, so it's another defensive injury. A big blow?
I think he was a little bit rusty.
Yeah, maybe.
He wasn't his usual,
I don't think it's him that's starting week in, week out, is it? I think 4D's starting on the right.
I think we missed 4D, yeah.
Yeah, so
Why do we call him 4D? It's not 4D, is it? It's Ford.
It is. I was just nicknaming him.
Ah, it's got an E on the end of it. That's why I thought you were calling him 4D.
No. So I think, so I think he's starting on the right. So I think it would have been perhaps a bigger blow to us if he would have gone out than maybe Reece has gone out. I would rather Reece be fit. For games like this, when you want to switch it up a little bit and you want to rest players, you need him there. We brought McAlinden in, who on the right, McAlinden's obviously left-footed, very much more an attacking player than he is a defender. I think he got caught out a few times in defensive mode against Altrincham, so I'm not a huge fan of having him there, although when we do go forward, I think McAlinden's very good.
We were watching the game, and I remember at one point you went, when did Sam Dalby come on? I mean, don't know. Did he come on after half time, or did he just...
It was so odd, because I completely missed him coming on, but so did you as well.
Yeah, I didn't see him coming on.
So if there was anyone else watching it on BT Sport, I don't know if we went mental and we maybe blacked out for a minute or so, but I don't think they showed Sam Dalby coming on. No. And then he was on, and then I saw him and went, oh, Sam Dalby's on. When did he come on?
Well, we didn't even know it was McAlinden that went off.
Well, McAlinden came on as a sub and then went off again to switch it up when it was at 1-1. So yeah, it was an odd one, that was, but he was on for a couple of minutes before the graphic came up on the bottom saying Dalby swap with McAlinden, and it was like, well, when did this happen?
I didn't even see the graphic.
I saw that, but I'd already seen Dalby on for a couple of minutes when that graphic came up. So I think BT Sport, but Dalby did well.
He did
when he came on.
Let's talk about. Sorry, have you finished that?
I'm done. Yeah, go on. Sorry, just shut me down.
Shut you down. Let's talk about. We mentioned him earlier on.
Yes. Mr. O'Connell.
Owen O'Connell made his debut and debut. It seems to be this seems to be like a running theme. Yeah. People, the guys who make their debut at a game tend to make their debut goal. Yeah. Which he did, and it was a good goal, to be fair. And I think he was a bit like I watched the interview afterwards, or we watched the interview afterwards, and I think it was Jeff Brazier.
On BT Sport.
Yeah. Sorry, was speaking to him. I couldn't think of and he said, "Did you know that when you got the ball that you were going to score a goal?" And he said he did.
Yeah, it was. I've seen another interview with him as well, the Wrexham one. Where basically he said it was really nice. He said as a defender, you don't really get to score many goals. Yeah. Not only you don't get to score many goals, you don't get to score many winning goals,
no.
So it was really nice for him. And I think something like that instantly settles you into the team.
Yeah.
And it warms you to the fans as well. The fans like you anyway. because you knew and they want you to do well. But I think scoring a winning goal in a tight game like that sort of endears you to the fans a little bit more.
Yeah.
Overall performance for him?
For him?
Yeah.
Good. I think he did. Yeah, I didn't hear his name being mentioned too often.
No.
But you could see him, up and down, getting the ball, passing it, and all that kind of jazz. One thing.
Yeah.
This might be slightly going off topic, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
Because I was chatting with Christian McHale on Twitter.
Yeah.
One of our listeners, and he said that he thinks that O'Connell would possibly not start at the Altrincham game, but possibly would start for the Sheffield game.
Yes.
But then somebody said, and I didn't know this, and I don't think you did either.
I didn't know this,
because he wasn't registered with Wrexham AFC prior to our game against Sheffield. United, sorry. I keep doing that, don't I? He's not actually allowed to play on Tuesday, which I think is it's a bit of a blow, because I think we really could do with him on Tuesday. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not sure if anyone else knew that rule, but yeah, so basically because he wasn't registered with us prior to the fixture, he cannot play with us. But does that mean he can't play if we get through this round?
No. So basically he wasn't registered for the 4th round of the FA Cup with this club.
Right.
Okay. So because he wasn't registered for the 4th round, he can't play in the 4th round.
It's a replay.
So because it's gone to a replay, still the 4th round. So he wasn't registered with the club for the 4th round.
Yeah.
So because of that, he can't play in the replay.
So if we get through, hopefully
he could play in the 5th round.
Be good.
Yes,
he could. Be good.
I saw a few people saying he was potentially man of the match. I thought he didn't do anything apart from the goal. I didn't think he did anything particularly spectacular. I just thought he did his job very well. He was good. He cleared stuff up the way he should. Very composed. I liked him on the ball. Man of the match for you?
Oh, that's a tough one, because I don't know. I'm gonna go, I think, with Max Cleworth. I think because he's definitely kind of shown that he deserves to be in the starting team, like he was all season. Obviously,
last season,
who was it that he was?
Harry Lennon.
Replaced, So I'm gonna say Max Cleworth again.
I think I'm gonna stick with the same person I picked last week as well. I think I went with Elliot Lee against Sheffield United. Obviously, I think Paul Mullin was the obvious choice against Sheffield United. Elliot Lee for me, he was great, but I thought he was really good yesterday as well. And I think a lot of the good stuff came from him yesterday. In the second half, I think everyone was below par in the first half, but second half, I thought he was very good, and I probably just pipped that. Altringham's biggest attendance since... Oh, no, it's the first time they had a complete sellout since the 60s.
I believe that's the statistic, yes.
Yeah, so little stat for you.
Okay.
9 teams this season have had their highest attendance of the season.
Because of us!
When they've played us.
Well, not us, personally.
Not us, Wrexham.
The club,
yeah.
Yes.
When they've played us, they've had the highest attendance of the season. Just goes to show, doesn't it? People might not like us very much anymore, but
this is the thing,
they certainly want to come and watch their team play against us, don't they?
Yeah.
So shit your mouth. Nigel got in touch after the Altrincham game. He said, great away day. Backs to the wall at times in the first half. Poor first half. Dominated the second half. O'Connell looked good. Shaky start in the first 15 minutes, but he grew into the game. Not sure why Ford wasn't in the squad. Great away following, good local pub. He said the ground was shocking. Have to say this team doesn't know how to lose. This game in previous seasons, we would have lost. Completely agree with you, Nigel. I think this is, again, we've said it a few times this season. The Bromley game was the last one I remember saying this about. That it was very much a game that I think we would have crumbled and we probably would have lost. I think we've had a few of them in the last month. Maidstone was another one when they came back at us and and then we won at the end. Again, another game I think we would have lost last season. We seem a lot stronger. We're winning ugly. We are winning ugly.
You said at the beginning when we started this podcast, you don't care how we win, if it's ugly or...
I do though. I do care how we win because I don't want to be not entertained. Do you know what I mean? But if there's going to be games where we have to win ugly, we don't seem to play well in poor conditions. So the rain was lashing down, and it's people always say it's an old sort of term, but it's a bit of a leveler. The weather, you know, a boggy pitch and you know, poor weather, it's a bit of a leveler. And I think it probably was, but you know, we don't seem to play great in the rain. So roll on the summer. Or at least the spring.
I was
anyway.
going to say they don't play in the summer.
No. So we got Sheffield United on Tuesday.
We do.
That is Tuesday the 7th. Kickoff is at 7:45 GMT. It's live on ITV4 in the UK and any other countries that can get ITV4. It's also available on ESPN Plus.
Is it available on Vanarama? Oh,
no, because it's not
Vanarama.
It's not a National League game. No. So yeah, ITV4 in this country. It's available on ESPN Plus wherever you are in the world. So hopefully you're tuning in on that. There was an away allocation of just over 4,700 tickets, which I'm going to be honest, I don't think Sheffield United thought we were going to sell. But we did. So they're all.
Have we sold them all?
We have sold them all.
Have we?
Yes. So that game is completely sold out. We've got our tickets.
Thankfully.
So we will see you all there on Tuesday. Everybody who's going.
Very excited.
Yeah, we are excited. To be honest,
excited.
I've never been to Bramall Lane. So
you're going to be absolutely knackered.
I know, yeah. So because I work shifts as I've mentioned before, so I'm going to be up at 4:30 on Tuesday morning. Potentially
not going to bed until 4:30 the next day.
Well, yeah, because we talked about when we were going to get home. Well, me and a guy in work were talking about when we were going to get home, and then he threw into the mix. Imagine it's extra time and penalties, and I went, oh my God, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
So it could be a late one. I'm really excited to go to Bramall Lane because I've never been there. And I am.
It'll be good to have your dad with us though this time. I think he was a bit gutted that he didn't come to the Coventry game with us.
He was, yeah.
So he's like all in for this Sheffield game. So please give him a good game because, you know.
Please do. So Sheffield United drew with Rotherham on Saturday. They drew 0-0. It's a bit of a Yorkshire derby, that one. I think Rotherham are up there that way. They had a couple of players, so they won't have Jebison, who did cause us quite a few problems at the home game.
Why won't they have him? Oh, he got sent off,
because he was sent off. Yes. So because he was sent off and it was violent conduct, it would be a 3-game ban. So it was the first game of his ban in the Rotherham game on Saturday. The Wrexham game will be a second, so we'll miss another game after that, which, is it a blow? It's a little bit of a blow for them, I think. But
do you think it'll help us?
No, because it depends who they are going to replace him with. Because there are two players one player didn't play at all in the first game, and another player that did come on, but later on they sort of rested him for a bit, and they're the two that I want to sort of highlight. So the first one is Ndiaye. So Ilman Ndiaye is superb, and he very much. Jebison came in to replace Ndiaye, okay, and Jebison played very well.
Okay.
Ndiaye is sort of like next level. He's a Premier League player. Ndiaye is easily. So Ndiaye was at the World Cup. He played in the World Cup for Senegal.
Right.
He came on as a sub in the second game and then started the third group game. And then he started the knockout game when Senegal played England. He was in that game. He was playing. So he is a full international. He's played in the Premier League before. Excellent player. When he came on against us, he caused us some problems. He come on quite late, which was a little bit of a blessing. It depends who they're going to replace Jebison with. Are they going, because they're still pushing and they want to do well in the league. And I think the fact but I think the fact that they dropped points on Saturday, I don't know what team they're going to put out. They're going to go, no, we're not going to put Ndiaye in. We'll keep him out of the way. Keep him nice and fresh for the league. And maybe Billy Sharp will come in. So maybe McBurney and Billy Sharp. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know.
We shall see on Tuesday.
We shall see. The other player I wanted to highlight was Sander Berge. So Sander Berge, again, excellent player. There was a lot of rumours that he was getting transferred away. I think Fulham were interested in him.
Mm-hmm.
That is the reason he wasn't in the matchday squad when we played him, when we played Sheffield United, because of all the rumours that he was going to be moving elsewhere. So he's now going to be coming into the game. Again, he is another top quality Premier League level player. Again, another full international. He's Norwegian. He's an excellent midfielder. He creates a lot. He scores goals. Superb to watch. Another one that could potentially, if he is in that team, causes some huge problems. Mm-hmm. He's Norwegian. He plays in the Norwegian national team. I think he's got 30 plus games for them. They weren't in the World Cup, but if they were in the World Cup, that's another one that would have been in the team. Yeah. So he plays in the Norwegian national team alongside Odegaard, alongside Erling Haaland. You know, so he's
Alfie's favourite player. Yeah,
so he's playing amongst, you know, when he's on international duty, he's playing against some.
Do you think we're screwed then?
Do you know what? Do you know what normally happens? And I'm not saying this is what's going to happen. So if you get let's look at this objectively from, let's look at it as if we're media people as opposed to Wrexham fans. What would normally happen in this sort of scenario is a plucky non-league team get an amazing result, a draw against a championship team or a Premier League team as an example. They go to the replay away from home and get smashed, right? That tends to be the story, okay? They've done really well in the first game. The championship or / Premier League team, whoever, go, this ain't happening again. We're going to show you what we're about. And then they put a few past us, right? That's taking a step back, and that would be your normal sort of scenario. I don't think this is your normal sort of scenario, though. For me, they are pushing for promotion in the same way we are.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong; they're a long way behind Burnley. Burnley are running away with that league at the moment. I'm sure they're about 17 points clear. I'm not sure, but they're a long way clear. So it's not quite the same as us, who are. We're sort of like first place in waiting with our games in hand, etc. Yes. So I think it's a different scenario, but very much a case of I am not sure what team Paul Heckingbottom's going to put out on a Tuesday night. Doesn't want a midweek game. Wants to keep his players fresh. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. And
I think that Parky will put out his first team.
No, I think we're going to have to make some changes. We're going to need. I think Tom O'Connor will potentially drop into a back three because unless he brings Harry Lennon in, which I'm not sure, he doesn't seem to fancy that at the moment.
For whatever reason.
He is again someone you could bring in. Very good player. He played very well against Altrincham when we watched him, didn't he? So
what Bickerstaff?
I think bench, maybe. I don't know. I think there's an expectation on Wrexham. I think you just got to put your team out and you just got to give it a go. Do a prediction.
Oh God. Okay, because I love Wrexham obviously so much, I'm gonna say 1-0 to Wrexham.
Do you know what? For the first time ever, I'm going to say the same as you.
Yeah.
I think 1-0 as well. I think I fancy it. I do. I don't think it's going to be your archetypal sort of replay where the National League team just get blown away. I just don't think that's going to happen. We've proved we can match them. And I don't think that's a fluke because we've done it against Coventry as well. We've shown we can do it, and we can do it away from home at a championship team. We don't care how big your ground is and how many fans you're going to bring. We're going to bring what we bring to that game. And I think we're very much, even though they know what we're about, I think we're going to shock them again. I think we're going to bring something that they're not expecting. Yeah. And I think they're expecting us to roll over in the replay. Mm-hmm. And we're not. So
we're not a normal National League team, are we?
We're not.
We do things by halves.
We don't. So Wealdstone, just a touch on Wealdstone.
What's Saturday? Well, it's a week on Saturday.
Yeah. So it's this Saturday. This coming Saturday. Yeah. So we drew against them 0-0 in the league when we played away.
Yeah.
Which was a very lacklustre, poor game. We didn't create a lot of chances. Let's brush that one under the carpet and move on. So they're currently 10th in the league.
They are.
They're 9 points and 8 places better off than they were at this stage last season. Yes. So what have they got on in the last 3 games?
I don't actually know.
Oh, dear me, Mrs.
Actually,
Watts.
no, wait a minute.
They've won, drawn and lost. I will tell you what they've done. They've won, drawn and lost. So they beat Dagenham. Yeah. They drew with Yeovil. And they lost to Gateshead.
Do you know what it is? Do you know the reason why I've not done my...
Because you're not prepared and professional?
No, it's because this Shan School thing this week has proper fried my head. So everything else has kind of gone out the window.
Okay, I'll tell you what then. Do a prediction for the Wealdstone game and then we'll move on.
3-0.
3-0?
To Wrexham. Is it home?
It is at home. Yeah. I'm going to go for 2-0.
Okay.
2-0. We'll do Shan School quickly, okay, before we run through the news. So we asked you to look at transfers this week. So briefly, just explain transfers for us.
So there is 2 transfer windows.
Yes.
The first in the closed season runs to the end of August.
Correct, yeah.
The second in January, which we have just had.
Yes.
And that ends on midnight on the 31st of January.
Yeah.
No transfer window in National League, although buying players from higher leagues is problematic as they cannot buy a replacement.
Yes. Yeah. So like what you're saying there is, all the teams higher up than us, they are bound by these 2 transfer windows. We are not. Although, if we wanted to buy a player from a higher league, it's unlikely they're going to let them go because they can't buy anybody to replace them.
Yes.
So generally, even though we're not bound by the window,
we kind of are. The
calibre of player we want to buy means we sort of are bound by the window.
Yeah.
So it's one of them. Unless we start buying National League players, which
is pointless.
We haven't really done for a long time.
What's the point?
Unless
they're like...
We're buying League 1, League 2 players.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
And to buy a player, a transfer fee is negotiated between clubs. The longer left on a player's contract, the higher the fee. The higher the fee a club can demand. So I suppose it's like like a phone contract. If you get out of your contract early, they can add charges on and stuff like that.
If you've got 4 years left on a contract, it doesn't mean you go up to 8 million quid if you are, if you're only worth $500,000. But the longer left on your contract, you're going to get what the player's worth because you're buying their contract out ultimately.
Exactly.
If you've only got a little bit left on your contract, sometimes you get really good players going for quite low fees because they haven't got long left on their contract. And the club selling them well, this player could literally just run his contract out
and then go for free
and leave for free.
Yeah.
So that's it. I think with Shan School, I think we've sort of reached a point where we've discussed, I think we've helped you and we've helped everybody listening through the main points of football. The offside rule, transfers, relegation and promotion, the playoffs, all that sort of stuff is the general basics of what Wrexham are dealing with on a week in, week out. So if anybody listening wants Shan to look into and learn about anything new, feel free to get in touch. But what I'm saying to you is I'm not going to give you any homework this week.
Yay!
Because I think what I don't want to do with this feature is just give you stuff for the sake of it. And we start delving into stuff that people aren't really interested in. We've covered the basics off. And I think that it's been very good and you've learned a lot, I would say. And I hope other people have learned a lot as well.
I've definitely learned something anyway. People who've got in touch.
No, a little bit of news. I just wanted to run through some news before we do that. So a quick injury update. So Hayden, at the moment, is out for 6 weeks. That's what Parky said.
Yeah.
Roughly 6 weeks. Fingers crossed for that one. But that obviously does take us to the middle of March. Not a lot left on that season, which is why we have brought in Owen O'Connell.
Yes, but at least Hayden will be fit, hopefully, for the Notts County game.
And for the running, which is really important, which he wasn't fit for last season.
Yes.
Tunnicliffe, a little bit of an odd one. So we heard a rumour he was out for the season.
Yes.
We've seen a picture of his ankle going over. Yeah, it's a bit, if you're squeamish, don't Google that one. And we heard he was out for the season. He had ankle ligament damage. Now, having said that, Parky said in an interview that he was also 6 weeks, which I found a little bit weird. He's gone from out for the season to out for 6 weeks. Now, the reason they can't properly assess Jordan Tunnicliffe at the moment is that there is a lot of swelling around his ankle. So until they're working on the basis of 6 weeks until the swelling goes down.
Could be longer.
Once the swelling goes down, they can assess it a little bit more clearly as to how long it's going to be. But fingers crossed on that one, that it is only 6 weeks.
Fingers crossed.
Talking about defenders, so we had Mendy back in training and also back on the pitch. Bryce Hosanna is also back in training as well, which is handy because he can play on the right, where McAlinden came in for Rhys Johnson. Bryce is left-footed, so he can also play on the left as well. So we've got a nice bit of cover on the full-backs. Even though we've lost Rhys, I think we've got a nice bit of cover there for sort of full-backs.
Jordan Davis.
Yes.
See, nothing has been officially released in regards to
when he's back.
When he's back and stuff like that. But if you've been watching the Wrexham AFC's Twitter feed, or probably on Instagram that as well, but we've seen it on Twitter.
Yeah.
I think, wasn't it? Yeah. There is I think it's 10 seconds in when they were revealing about the gym.
Yeah.
And Jordan is doing some leg work.
He is doing some leg work at the gym.
Which is very positive.
It is. So he's doing some work strengthening his leg up. Fingers crossed, I don't know how long, maybe another month. But it'd be good to have him back as that. I've always said this. We've got Elliot Lee as this dynamic playmaker in the middle. Mm-hmm. If Elliot Lee's having a game where it's not working, we don't really have anyone to come in and take that on and be that dynamic player in the middle. That is where Jordan comes in. So Jordan will be hugely beneficial again in the run-in hopefully from March onwards. Fingers crossed, maybe sooner. We'll have to wait and see on that one.
Yeah. So as I said, the gym is ready. They have got a new lovely gym.
Yes, it is.
It's very good.
It's very good. And I like the fact that it's within the club as well.
Yes. I wonder if they'll let us go and train there.
Maybe. We don't train anywhere. Never mind. Another couple of quick things just to talk about. Wrexham are entering a team into TST.
Is this confirmed now? Because I know there was obviously things going around on social media, but you know.
So TST literally stands for the soccer tournament. And it's in North Carolina, and it's a 7 versus 7 tournament, which is taking place in the summer. And the winners get $1 million.
That'll be nice.
That'll help pay the wages for a week, won't it? No, that'd be good.
So is it the team that we've got now?
I think it's a mixture of stuff. I think there's a few players, but I heard
Nicky Thomas could go up there.
Maybe I heard it was you can put legends in there as well.
I thought that's what it was.
Yeah, I've heard a mixture of things. So
I'm sure we'll see.
We'll find out about that.
Yeah, a bit of controversy about the Barnet tickets.
Yeah.
So obviously you may have seen that Barnet tickets went on sale, but apparently this was not communicated between the clubs, but Barnet is saying, yeah, it was, but Wrexham are saying, no, it wasn't. So it's kind of like...
Yeah, Barnet sold tickets for all of their remaining games for the whole season.
Yep.
Didn't communicate that with Wrexham, so a lot of fans got them because they knew they were available. A lot of fans didn't even know that we didn't know they were available. No. And so, yeah, it's one of them, but it's, there
are a few remaining tickets.
There's a few more being released, so keep your eyes peeled.
Yes.
An exciting week. For us, as in the podcast, us.
Yes.
So, in the Apple Football podcast charts, we've had an amazing week. So we got to number 8 in Ireland in the Apple Football podcast chart.
Do you think the signing of Owen and that is that?
Hopefully, yeah. Huge family he's got. So, definitely.
We
got to number 11 in New Zealand. Thank you, New Zealand. We got to number 11 in Norway. Thank you, Norway.
Do you know what we should have done? What? We should have learned how to say thank you in Norwegian.
Bit late now, isn't it?
Thank you.
Thank you. A great week for us. Thank you very much.
People who got in touch.
People who got in touch. Firstly, I just want to apologise to Tam, because Tam has sent a couple of emails in, and I'm pretty sure that in the when I've mentioned the emails that Tam sent in, I referred to Tam as he or his. Now,
very sexist.
Yes, I have since reread your messages and have realised that it is her or she that I should have used. So, Tam, I am so sorry. I referred to you as a man and not a woman, so I do apologise about that. Please get in touch again.
Yeah. Christian Dibble fan page.
Yes.
I think it's run by or associated with a girl called Millie Tipping.
Yeah.
She is a massive Christian Dibble fan, and I'm sure she was very upset when he left the other week. But she's got in touch saying, "Keep it up, love your content, you're both amazing."
Thank you very much.
So you, Millie.
Chris from Pittsburgh has asked us to do a vlog of our day at one of our match days. I'm sure
I think we're possibly going to do that on Tuesday when we go to Sheffield.
Yeah. So Ali Stark has been in touch as well to say football was always intimidating to me because I didn't grow up a fan. And then when I saw MLS, Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, and all the cups, it was a bit overwhelming knowing where to jump in. I didn't even know relegation was a thing until I Googled it after watching Ted Lasso. I credit the documentary for giving me a very baseline understanding of the EFL at least, and a team to cheer for. It made me watching today, which was the Sheffield United game, exciting and nerve-wracking and so fun. So welcome aboard, Ali.
James Gatz got in touch with us on Messenger on Facebook. I just love your podcast and everything you two are doing with it. I'm in Johnstown. No, you're not. You're in Youngstown, Ohio, USA, and relate to Wrexham FC so much because I'm a Cleveland sports fan, which means many disappointed years of play and bad ownership leading to years of heartbreak. My wife and I are totally hooked on the team and the future that they are going to have. P.S. I just love your opening music to the podcast. It makes me want to dance. Is there a story behind it?
No, there isn't, James.
I replied back to him and I said, no, there's no story. But there is a story.
Yeah.
We found it, or you found it, because it had a whistle in it and it sounded very football-y. So that's the story.
When we were doing the intro, I basically... we were looking for royalty-free music so that we could use it and not have to pay royalties on it. Mm-hmm. And then this one came about, and it had a whistle in it, and it sounded like a football whistle, and that is the only reason that we picked it.
I think you should start, because you write your own music, you should start write your own music, and we could have that as the intro tune.
Okay. Yeah.
Because you haven't got anything else to do with your life.
No, I haven't got anything else going on. Darren got in touch as well. He was talking about Max Cleworth. He said he deserves so much credit for doing so well under pressure. So mature for someone who is basically a kid. We're lucky to have him.
That was from the Sheffield game as well.
We are. Anyone wants to get in touch, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, or email me, the wife, and wrexhamafc@gmail.com. Quick shout out for Dragon Chat as well. It's a mental health peer support group, and they run a weekly Zoom call on a Thursday between 7 o'clock and 8:30. The point of it? What's the point of it? The point of it is that they allow people to go on and just talk to other people with a common interest around Wrexham AFC. It's not all about football. It can be very football heavy. It can be very much talking about yourself and how you're struggling and how you need a little bit of support. Mm-hmm. Steve, who runs it, is great, and he knows a lot of other people outside of that sort of.
So he can,
and he can direct people in the right areas and things like that. It's a great service, and I would highly recommend it to anybody who needs to have a little bit of a chat with somebody and needs a little bit of help. Because it's great. They structure it in two halves, basically, 2 45-minute halves. So that's why it's an hour and a half long. The first half is to talk about you and, how you're struggling, how you've got on that week. If you've had a good week, if you've had a bad week, whatever it may be. The second half is very much structured. So they talk about Wrexham and how the games have gone. You know, if it's been a particularly busy week, the football can sometimes spill out into the first half, and it you know, sometimes it goes the other way. It just depends, and it's a good opportunity for people to talk, and it's a great service.
It's good to talk.
It's good to talk.
That's an old one, isn't it?
It is.
BT, wasn't it?
Other providers are available.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, unless BT want to sponsor us, then they're the only ones. Okay, so quiz.
Okie dokie.
So I was, it's hard doing a quiz, you know. I struggle week in, week out going, what is the theme of the quiz? Because I don't want to make it too general. So this week I have focused on a little bit of a January review. Okay? You okay there?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm stifling a yawn.
Oh.
It's always this point that I just,
Yeah.
I get nervous. It's a nervous yawn.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it
right,
is, honestly. It's truly.
Okay.
It's a thing.
It's a thing, and nervous yawn, is it? Okay, so it's a January review.
Okay.
Basically, I can't say that very well.
January review.
Okay, question 1.
Yes.
How many games did we score at least 3 goals in January? You can think about it. It's okay. We've got time.
4.
Well done. 4.
Is it?
It is 4.
Barnet.
Hang on.
Oh.
Wait for question 2, eh?
Oh, okay. Don't ask me who they are.
We didn't play Barnet in January, but anyway.
Oh, didn't we?
Question 2. Name 3 of the teams we scored at least 3 goals against in January.
Sheffield.
There are 4 in total, which you just said. Yes.
Sheffield.
Correct.
Bromley.
No, that was 2-1.
Gateshead.
Correct.
Do I have to just one more, or do I have
Just
to...
one more? Yeah, you can do all 4 if you want to show off.
Who was the team that we beat 7-5?
That was Barnet. That was months ago.
Was it?
Yes.
That just sticks in my head.
Yeah.
Coventry.
Correct. There's 3. Correct. The other one we have mentioned in this podcast today. Wealdstone. Oh. That's the one where we were saying that's a game potentially we would have dropped points last season.
Well, I got 3, so
there you go.
2 out of 2 so far. Boom, boom, boom.
Yes. Question 3. Out of the 7 games that we played in January, Paul Mullin only failed to score in 2 of them. Name one of the teams he failed to score against in January. Now, there's a really obvious one if you just take a second and think about it. Not too long, but...
Gateshead.
No, he did score against Gateshead. The 2 teams he didn't score against were Solihull Moors at the start of the month. The other one was Altrincham in the FA Trophy, and that's because he didn't play.
Trick question, that.
Not really, because I said there was an obvious one. Question 4.
Well, obviously that obvious.
We scored 19 goals in January.
Yes.
But how many of them did we score at home? So out of the 19 goals, how many were at home?
7.
Incorrect, it was 5. So we scored 3 against Sheffield United, 2 against Bromley. End of story. They were the only 2.
You did sound like you were going to carry on
they were the only 2.
No, anyway.
They were the only 2 home games we had
Okay.
in January. Question 5. Wrexham haven't received a single red card so far this season, but how many red cards were given to teams playing against Wrexham in January?
2.
Well done. For a bonus point, just
Jefferson.
give you... No. Well, I wasn't even going to ask you to name who they were. I was just going to say what teams.
Okay, Sheffield United.
Yeah.
And Coventry.
Oh, do you know what? You've smashed it this week.
Smashed it.
Absolutely smashed it. Maybe you turned a corner.
Maybe I have.
Well, thank you very much for tuning in again this week. It's been an absolute pleasure.
As always. And
we'll see you again for episode 30 next week. So
it's bye from me and bye from him.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.